They're getting scoops and making headlines.
It's very professional.
Catholic school students bit by the news bug.
I watch the news every morning. I hear the weather, the traffic, everything.
And now they have their own newspaper. Next on Currents News, the story that's hot off the press.
Hi, I'm Christine Persichetti. In a world where any kid with a cell phone is being bombarded with biased news sources, one Catholic school is teaching their students the value of pursuing the truth through good journalism. St. Luke's newspaper is back in print after taking a years-long hiatus during COVID. Currents News' Jessica Easthope reports on the journalists of tomorrow in Whitestone, Queens.
High of 75 degrees, 80 in some suburbs.
Fourth grader Luciano Amoroso delivers the weather report to his classmates at St. Luke's School in Whitestone every single day.
Luciano, we might have to consider for September adding the weather to the morning announcements.
It's how they know if recess will be outside or not.
Well, I watch the news every morning. I get out of bed, I go on the couch, get the remote, I hear the weather, the traffic, everything.
But recently, Luciano and around 20 other students explored their journalistic talents in a more official capacity.
It's very professional.
These articles, illustrations, and photos are all by them.
Yeah, it's really cute.
The school's newspaper is back up and running for the first time since COVID. And Principal Jan Brunswick says the kids couldn't be more passionate about the project.
I sent out an interest form and was overwhelmed and thought, well, this would be perfect because we can put out multiple issues a year and give everyone a turn and have students play different roles.
The St. Luke's School Times has a little bit of everything. Sports, pieces on parish life, popular culture, and current events. The kids come up with the ideas themselves, gather their elements, and like true journalists, they are their own worst critics.
I wrote about the choir. I feel like I could have added more, but the fact that I didn't, a little disappointed, but I feel like I wrote enough. I did a good one page.
Others find the paper, which comes out once a trimester, quite impressive.
But it was just fascinating seeing some of the kids in second and third grade, like I said, you're going to do it on a Google Doc, you're going to email it to me, and they did.
Anthony Rao, a teacher at St. Luke's and the paper's moderator, says the kids are learning how important it is to have an unbiased source of information and make their voices heard.
All the gloom and doom and evil in the world, and this is what they chose to write about, what's going on in their own life now. If it's important to you, it's news.
The next edition of the St. Luke's School Times is set to hit classrooms around Memorial Day, just in time for the May crowning. In Whitestone, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Some good news if you're taking part in the Eucharistic pilgrimage or Congress. You can now attend both free from sin. Pope Francis has approved the request of the president of the U.S. Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Timothy Broglio, that anyone taking part in the big event in Indianapolis or the pilgrimage leading to it can receive a plenary indulgence. That means they are free from temporal punishment for their sins. The only other requirement besides attending the revival events are Catholics have to receive the sacraments of reconciliation and communion and pray for the intentions of the Holy Father. Everything begins on May 17th when 4 groups from all 4 corners of the nation will take part in a pilgrimage, walking thousands of miles while carrying Christ in the Eucharist. They'll stop at holy sites and churches along the way, which you are welcome to join. The pilgrims will converge on Indianapolis on July 17th for the National Eucharistic Congress. You can learn more about that Congress and pilgrimage by going online to eucharisticrevival.org. You can also hear Brooklyn's Bishop Robert Brennan speaking on the revival. He's taking part in a special program called Beautiful Light, a Paschal Mystagogy, where bishops dive into the sacred mysteries of the Mass. Bishop Brennan will be live on the National Eucharistic Revival's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube pages this Thursday, April 11th at 8 p.m. And of course, we will cover Bishop Brennan's message here on Currents News. The Diocese of Brooklyn is preparing for its own revival event, and you can read all about it in this week's tablet newspaper. Learn everything from the preparations happening at Louis Armstrong Stadium to the culturally diverse choir set to perform and the thousands of pilgrims, including Bishop Robert Brennan, who will pilgrimage on the 7 train to get there. That'll all happen on April 20th. There's still time to reserve your seat. Just sign up at your local parish. And for more information, just go online to dioceseofbrooklyn.org. And you can read all those stories by picking up the tablet this weekend at your local church. To get future editions sent straight to you, just subscribe online to thetablet.org. A parish in New Jersey that was significantly damaged by a fire may be returning to their pews as early as this weekend. According to the news site for the Archdiocese of Newark, Jersey Catholic, a man broke into Our Lady of the Lake Church on April 5th, setting fire to about 10 pews, statues of Mary and Joseph, and the altar. While firefighters were able to put out the flames, the church was heavily damaged. A restoration company has been working with them, and they're hopeful to reopen for Mass this weekend. That suspect is in custody and is facing 9 charges, including burglary and arson. This comes as Newark, New Jersey plans to implement a curfew for kids. According to police, starting on Friday, children need to remain within 100 yards of their homes from 11 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. There will be some exceptions, like if a kid is traveling to or from a religious activity. Sky-high mortgages and surging gas prices sent inflation soaring more than expected this March. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, consumer prices jumped 3.5% last month, the highest annual gain in the last 6 months. Gas and housing costs accounted for more than half of that monthly increase. What if one simple choice could reduce the amount of gas emissions? Now, we're not talking about taking the train more. We actually mean continuing the Lenten practice of meatless meals. According to environmental experts, if Catholics gave up meat on Fridays year-round, it could make an impact on the planet. Currents News' Katie Vasquez explains.
Fridays during Lent are a time for Catholics to give up meat, a recognition of Christ's sacrifice for us all. But once upon a time, people of faith would follow Meatless Fridays all year round.
When I was very young, that was the rule. You did not eat meat on Fridays, not just during Lent, but throughout the year.
It's a practice that hasn't been official in the church for almost 60 years. But St. Andrew the Apostle parishioner Tom Hinchin still follows the fast. As a member of the Metro New York Catholic Climate Movement, he, along with fellow member Rosa Waldron, believes if more Catholics continue to not eat meat on Friday, they can get closer to God and God's creation.
Pope Francis came up with the encyclical Laudato Si, and he's leading us in deepening our care for the earth and showing us ways that we can do that.
It would be great for it to be instituted again, but in a way that people are brought back in touch with how holistic our faith is.
In fact, statistics show that if all 73.5 million Catholics globally gave up meat once a week throughout the year, it could make a deep impact on the environment. It could save more than 20.5 trillion liters of water, which is the same as 8 million Olympic swimming pools. It could also cut back on the gas equivalent of 7 million cars.
Cattle produce a lot of methane. It goes into the atmosphere. It's just very negative.
Rosa says even if a dozen people make the sacrifice, it could create a change that will help our planet.
Our faith started with 12, virtually 12 people, and it ended up over the millennia, millions of people.
And Tom's advice for those looking to start?
Just take it a little bit at a time. I think that's very good advice.
Which we are about to receive.
So you too can save the environment, one dish at a time. In Windsor Terrace, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
And finally tonight, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a bishop? Well, 2 Minnesota prelates are giving you an inside look.
I'm a bishop. Of course I hate when my communications team makes me do TikToks.
Archbishop, it's a real.
I'm a bishop, and of course the best perk of my job is wearing that awesome hat.
That's Archbishop Bernard Hebda of St. Paul in Minneapolis and Bishop Andrew Cousins of Crookston taking part in an online trend about where you talk about common experiences among a certain group, like, as the bishops point out, how bishops have to constantly check if their pectoral cross is facing front. That reel has more than 7,000 views, and you can find it on their diocese's Instagram pages. Go take a look. It's hilarious. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.